Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at one of my latest eBay finds. This is a Santa Fe mini train set. Now, I was excited to find this because I work at a railroad museum that mostly pertains to the Santa Fe. So I finally had a Santa Fe labeled train at last. This was before I bought the Buddy L set we saw in another video. There was another distinguishing feature of this train that I wanted to show you. This appears to be made by Durham Industries. All the packaging, including the little cutout buildings and people in the back, are here. But according to the box, it was distributed by Midwest Home Products Incorporated of Wilmington, Delaware. So I assume that this was a train set made to a price point by Durham Industries. And without further ado, let's go ahead and open up the box. Now, here's the reason that besides the Santa Fe theme, here's another reason why I was interested in this set. Let's take a look at this caboose. And let's compare it to the caboose that came in my GFX Trans-American train set from 1986. Notice that while the body shell is essentially the same, the underneath it is entirely different. Most sets have this black chassis with this black piece holding the loop couplers and the wheels, and the axles of the wheels are metal. Instead, this one has these extensions to the body into which the wheels snap. The wheels look very similar to the wheels you'd find in the plastic wheels you find in an HO scale train set. Rather than having the separate hook and loop couplers, here's a better example here. We got the loop on one end, and we got the hook on the other. So rather than the hook and loop couplers, we got a hook molded into one end of the caboose and a loop into the other. Taking out our boxcar, you can see the same thing. There's a different chassis. Now, this boxcar does have a loop screwed into the top of it, but the other end just has a loop molded into it instead of the hinge loop you see on this one. Finally, with the tender, once again we have the wheels that snap into the body. Compared to this, we have a peg on one end, which might possibly be broken, and we got a loop on the other end. So these trains were apparently made to a lower price point, or in other words, they're made cheaper so that they could sell them to this other company for a lower price, and they could turn around and sell them at the same or lower price as Durham Industries. So this is called making them to a price point. And here, we see all three cars compared from each set. The track is the same track we find in the other Durham Industries set, complete with switch track. And then finally, we have the same chassis with the front half of an Alco FA unit. Let's open up the FA unit and see what it looks like. So I went to open up the Santa Fe F unit, and this is what I found. Now, they had left the battery in here for years, and this entire strip right here was bright green. You can still see some of the green on the rivet right there. This is after I cleaned it once or twice. But what's worse, the end of the metal strip right here that touches the back of the battery was broken off. Now, those of you who have been watching my channel will know that so far, I've had a 100% success rate getting these little engines to run. I thought that I finally met my match here on this one. To get the corrosion off of this bottom strip here at the base, I first used a cola drink and a brush, which is good for dissolving the actual corrosion off of it. Once I got most of the corrosion off, I then used brass polish to get as close to luster as I could. I also used a Brillo pad here to scrub it and get it to this point. Once I got it to that point, I then used a hobby transformer with the power set as low as possible, working back and forth, forward and reverse, and also turning the wheels until I finally got it to go. Now, normally, these motors have a long tank that sticks up to the middle of the battery, like you see here on the one in the back. When I saw this one was like this, I initially thought it was broken, and even told the seller that on eBay. But then I realized that when I slipped the battery in it, that it was just long enough to reach the center of the battery, which now makes me think that they did this to cheapen the cost of this motor even more. When I turn it on, it works. So, my streak is unbroken. Every one of these I've purchased so far works, even though a lot of them are 50 and 60 years old, maybe older. Let's put the entire train together now and see how it works. The coupler was missing from the right end of this tender. Fortunately, I have already 3D printed my own couplers for these, and I had a spare screw, so I was able to fix it. If I take the caboose off, the struggle's a lot less. I went ahead and put a little bit of oil at the end of each axle. This illustrates well how much friction plastic axle ends and plastic hubs can generate. But let's see if the oil helps. Not too much. There we go. That's still a raised spot right there, so it struggles. Thanks for watching.